welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to be back filming another video. Today's video is going to be my July TBR. Everything that I want to read in July. I'm setting lofty goals this month for July because I didn't really read that much last month. And this month, you know, I got a new Kindle. I want to be reading more. I'm inspired to read more. We should all read more. So I have so many books that I want to read this month. So let's get into it. I feel like everyone is picking their TBR from a jar. I'm not picking a TBR from a jar. I already know what I want to read this month. Everything that I want to read, I don't even think that a lot of them are books that have been set on my TBR forever. Some of them are just books that I feel like this is the month I want to read them. Most of the books that I want to read this month are books that are recommended to me on TikTok and books that I've just had my eye on for a while that I've just never actually picked up, but I've been picking up some books recently and I'm excited to read them. With all that said, let's get into the video. The first book that I want to finish in July is House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. This is the second book in the Crescent City series. I'm actually currently reading this book right now. I'm literally 70% done. I just got to part 3. I don't have that much left in it. Just maybe 300 pages left. I might finish it today. I've read so much of this book today. I'm kind of flying through it. I want to do a recap video, so I'm really writing down everything that I'm thinking while I'm reading this book because my recap video is just going to go crazy. I already know it, and I have a lot of thoughts about this book. This book is the sequel to Crescent City 1. It's allegedly based off of Zootopia, but it follows this girl named Bryce who's half fae, half human, and her boyfriend Hunt, who's an angel, and they live in the city called Crescent City, which is basically Zootopia, but for supernatural romantasy creatures. So there's every creature there's every creature that you've ever heard of that lives in the city, and they just all be in the city together. And they live on one continent, but on the other continent, I don't know, for some reason humans aren't abused on the continent that they live on, but they're viciously abused on the continent across the pond. Let me read the description to this book. No spoilers. Bryce, Quinlan, and Hunt Apple are trying to get back to normal. They may have saved Crescent City, but with so much upheaval in their lives lately, they mostly want a chance to relax, slow down, figure out what the future holds. But as Bryce, Hunt, and their friends get pulled into the rebels' plans, their choice becomes clear. Stay silent while others are oppressed, or fight for what's right. And they've never been very good at staying silent. In this sexy, action-packed New York Times #1 bestseller, Sarah J. Maas weaves a captivating story of a world about to explode and the people who would do anything to save it. Aww. Yeah, I have slight issues with this book, as I've said before, but I also don't think it's necessarily fair. I see this all the time. I don't agree with reviewing books that you haven't finished. I don't agree with reviewing books that you haven't finished. Imagine me, right? I'm saying all this stuff about Bryce. I'm like, I'm not gonna finish this book. This is so horrible. This is so reductive. So I go ahead and rate it 1 star on Goodreads, right? What happens in the next 100 pages? Bryce has this come to Jesus moment and she's, no, what? You know what? The Asteria are this bad. No matter what the rebels' cause is, or no matter the rebels' methods, the cause is a good cause and they're the only people who are fighting for what's good. We have to fight fire with fire, I'm gonna join them. Nah, I look stupid. And I think that's the issue that I have with all of these reviews that I read of books like DNF 1 star, DNF 2 stars because of this. I'm like, baby, you didn't finish the book. They addressed this. The storyline finished. It closed in a perfect circle. I don't understand how you can review a book you didn't finish and then talk about character development. Baby, you don't know anything about the character development because you didn't finish the book. You didn't finish the book. So quiet down when people are talking about character development because you did not finish the story. It's that simple. So far, so mid. I'm literally 70% done with the book. I think I'm gonna finish the series. It's enjoyable to a point, but I don't know with Sarah J. When I read Throne of Glass when I was in middle school, and I think Throne of Glass is YA, I just don't know if Sarah J. Maybe she just needs to stick with YA. Throne of Glass, at least I remember it being super exciting. Just so exciting. It was one of the most exciting books I'd ever read. I think she just has that YA sauce. I think this is just a YA book with sex in it. I just don't think that this book takes itself seriously enough. It understands the themes that it's talking about enough to be an adult book. We're talking about rebellion. We're talking about systemic oppression. We're talking about like the highest of the highs, people with supernatural abilities abusing the fuck out of humans. And these people like, violence is never the answer. What are you talking about? What do you mean? The main characters stay like, oh, like violence isn't the answer. Like, oh, we're not going to do that. We'll be just as bad as the bad guys. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Because it looks to me like the bad guys are indiscriminately killing humans. So I don't think people defending themselves from that is being just as bad as the bad guys. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. So it's a very YA childlike concept of justice, which is what I'm finding myself not liking that a whole bunch about this book in particular. The concept of justice and the rights that oppressed people have to defend themselves. I don't know if Sarah J really understands that. And maybe this is part of the main character's growth. But as of right now, I find Bryce and Hunt and their whole gang of super privileged royal people to be they just so glib with this. It's very immature and annoying. And I can tell that they think that they're eating. And I can tell that they think that the reader should think that they're eating, and they're not. They're doing a horrible job, and they're kind of assholes to everyone. And they really don't understand. They think that they understand the privilege that they have, but they don't. That's my problem with this book. But hey, there's another book in the series. I just need to see how the characters grow and develop. Maybe by the end of this book, they will change and grow. And I'm gonna do a full recap, full review of all my thoughts about this. This girl, Bryce, is the daughter of the fake king. One has the most power anyone has ever, but she want to talk about, I completely understand where you're coming from. She half human. You might as well not be half human because you've completely forgotten. She's Vanir scum. Just like they're saying, she's literally Vanir scum. I don't know why she thinks that because she's half human, all this, all that. What? I don't know. I have my thoughts about this. I'll organize them and post them in another video. But finishing this is on my TBR. After I'm done with this book, I'll probably be done with it by the end of today. I want to read, I feel like typically after I read a good fantasy book, I switch to reading fiction, just regular literary fiction. So that brings me to the next book I want to read this month, which is My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. I have heard nothing but the best things possible about this book. I have heard nothing but the best things possible about this book. The Something Quartet, the Neapolitan Quartet, which is like, there's 4 books in this series. This is the first book in the series. Everyone says this is a must read. I don't know why people like it so much. I don't even know what the plot is about, but it follows 2 women who grew up in Italy from their childhood throughout their entire adult lives. Let me read the description of this. From one of Italy's most acclaimed authors comes this ravishing and generous-hearted novel about a friendship that lasts a lifetime. The story of Elena and Lila begins in 1950 in a poor but vibrant neighborhood on the outskirts of Naples. Growing up on these tough streets, the 2 girls learn to rely on each other ahead of anyone or anything else, as their friendship, beautifully and meticulously rendered, becomes a not always perfect shelter from hardship. Ferrante has created a memorable portrait of 2 women, but My Beautiful Friend is also the story of a nation. Through the lives of Elena and Lila, Ferrante gives her readers the story of a neighborhood, a city, and a country undergoing momentous change. It's also a TV show on HBO Max if you want to watch it. I heard it's good. Yeah, and this is a quartet, so we'll see what's up. Story of girlhood, story of 2 women just being girls, being women, loving each other throughout all of their trials and tribulations. I don't know much about this book, but I'm excited to find out more. And I feel like this will be a fast read, a nice palate cleanser after reading this behemoth. So I'm excited to get into it. And I feel like it's just been staring at me on my bookshelf for so long, and it's just time for me to finally read it and see what it's about. The next book that I want to read is Onyx by Jennifer Armentrout. I'm reading, this book is 2 books in one. Whenever I need a palate cleanser, like, you know when you're reading really late at night and you're not comprehending anything that you're reading, especially when you're reading adult books or books that are like, use a lot of difficult vocabulary words or have a more difficult prose, or you just kind of need to pay attention more because it's really important plot and you have to piece what they're saying together. This book has none of that, unfortunately. And I've also read this book series like 4 times, so this is like my late night book. Whenever I want just like something to eat at night, something to nibble on at 2 a.m. when I can't fall asleep, I pick up this book and I just devour it. I'm trying to reread this entire series again. I'm taking a lot of notes because I want to do a review of this, but this is just my emotional support book. Kat, Damon, the rest of them, all these people in this book, Dee, I love them down. It's so silly, it's so stupid, but it's so good. It's literally Twilight, but aliens. So I'm gonna continue reading every last page of this book because it's amazing. Let me read the description for Lux as well. There's an alien next door, and with his looming height and eerie green eyes, he's hot until he opens his mouth. He's infuriating, arrogant, stab-worthy. But when a stranger attacks me and Damon literally freezes time with a wave of his hand, he marks me. Turns out he has a galaxy of enemies wanting to steal his abilities, and the only way I'm getting out of this alive is by sticking close to him until my alien mojo fades. If I don't kill him first, that is. And then the second book is, Damon is determined to prove what he feels for me is more than a product of our bizarro connection, so I've sworn him off. Even though he's running more hot than cold these days, we've got bigger problems. I've seen someone who shouldn't be alive, and I have to tell Damon, even though I know he's never going to stop searching until he gets the truth. What happened to his brother? Who betrayed him? And what does the DoD want from them? From me? Oh my gosh, that's so dramatic. What do they want? But if you're looking for, if you miss the CW, this is honestly what if you miss the CW and you miss network television shows and you just miss constant drama, people kissing, just 17, 18-year-olds just up to no good. Where are the parents? Where are the parents? Literally, this book is a definition of where are the parents? They're nowhere to be found. These 17-year-olds are just left to roam this earth and deal with the government, deal with intrigue, deal with supernatural powers on their own. And of course they make terrible decisions. Top 10 book. I don't know what to say. I pick this book up every 5 years and just reread it because it's such an enjoyable reading experience. The next book that I want to read this month, I don't know if people have seen the drama that the author Tomi is posting, but I want to start reading Children of Blood and Bone. I heard this book series was literally phenomenal. People have compared it to like Avatar: The Last Airbender. Apparently there's like elemental powers. Let me read the description. Adibola remembers when the soil of Orisha hummed with magic. Burners ignited flames. Tiders beckoned waves. Nzele's Reaper Mother summoned forth souls. But everything changed once magic disappeared. Under the orders of a ruthless king, the Magi were targeted and killed, leaving Zele without a mother and her people without hope. Now Zele has one chance to bring back magic and strike against the monarchy. With the help of a rogue princess, Zele must outwit and outrun the crown prince, who is hell-bent on eradicating magic for good. Danger lurks in Orisha, where snow leopards prowl and vengeful spirits wait in the waters. Yet the greatest threat may be Zele herself as she struggles to control her powers and her growing feelings for an enemy. Okay, like, it sounds good to me. And I wanted to read this because I remembered that there was a movie coming out about it. So I looked up like, oh, like, how's it going? How's the author doing? So I remember the author was very proud about the fact that there's a movie being made about this. It's going to turn into a major motion picture starring like Academy Award winners. It was supposed to be lit. It had an open casting call, but I remember there was some controversy because this girl on the cover, they cast Amanda Seinfeld as the lead in this movie, which a lot of people have a lot of smoke for Amanda because she is consistently cast in roles for monoracial black women. I don't really know how I feel about Amanda because I think as an actor, you just audition for everything. We don't know the number of things that Amanda is auditioning for, and I think she's a working actor, so a lot of the stuff are just jobs for her, and I don't know if it's necessarily an audience member's place to tell someone who is working that they should not accept jobs that they are hired for. I think that the onus lies on executives, producers, these people in the industry they just seem kind of hell-bent on not casting monoracial black women for roles. I don't know if it's like, if you apply for a job and you're unqualified for the job and you get the job, your job at that job is to do the job to the best of your ability. It's not your job as an actor, as an employee, to tell yourself no. And I don't think it's Amanda's job to tell herself no either, personally, in my opinion. I think they should have hired another black actor. But at the end of the day, we're not in the casting rooms. I don't know if that's her fault though, but that's the reality of the situation. I think she just wants to be an actor. And I think, well, I'll just leave it at that. And then the last book I want to read this month, I might read this right after I read House of Sky and Breath because I'm like 2% to it. I've started it, I have it on my Kindle, I've read some of it, is Daggermouth. Daggermouth. Everyone says Daggermouth is so good. Everyone reads and is like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I've never read a dystopian romance this good. The lady who wrote it just got, well, she's also Black. Hey, support Black authors! I consider June to be Black History Month. We get it twice in a year. Like, you're not gonna tell me it's not Black History Month as well. You know, I'm gonna read it. July, when you think about it, when you think about July, what do you get in July? The sun's out, you get darker, you get more tan, you get darker. So in another way, when you really think about it, July is also Black History Month. So in honor of Black History Month, I'm gonna be reading Daggermouth and Children of Blood and Bone. That's just what we do for each other. That's just what you have to do when it's Black History Month. So yeah, I'm gonna read Daggermouth. And let me read the description for Daggermouth. So apparently Daggermouth is gonna be a duology. I don't know when the second book comes out. Let me see. Comes out in November, which is close when you think about it. It's only a few months away. We're already in the 7th month. So what? It's only 4 months away. November 30th, sequel to Daggermouth. I wonder if it's gonna be, you know what I hate? I hate it when people review books that have not come out yet. Daggermouth already has a 5-star rating with 4 reviews. The book hasn't come out yet. I know there's no arcs of it. Please stop reviewing books that have not come out yet on Goodreads. It is so annoying to me. I don't know. Okay, let's read the description. Set in a corrupt surveillance state ruled by the masked elite, this true enemies to lovers dystopian romance follows a mercenary who botches the assassination of the president's son and ends up forced to marry him. The first thing you'll learn in Newfound Haven is that mercy doesn't exist. The second thing is that, from the highest glass atrium in the heart to the windowless slums of the Boundary, the Veira are always watching. The last lesson is the hardest, but you must remember it. Love outside your ring is a death sentence. The city is carved into rings of privilege and poverty, ruled by the mass elite who will do whatever it takes to hold on to power. Obedience is demanded, rebellion is crushed. Grayson Searle has spent his life caught between two worlds. Publicly, he's the flawless heir to the presidency. Privately, he's entangled in secrets that could topple the regime. But when he's forced into a political marriage meant to bind him tighter to the government's brutal laws, he finds himself shackled to a bride as lethal as she is unwilling. Shadara? Sure. Shadara? Shadara Kale is a mercenary raised to kill, not to win. But yet, when her bullet misses its mark, survival leaves her tied to the very man she was sent to eliminate. Trapped inside the corrupt heart of the city, she becomes both prisoner and wife. Her every step watched, her every move tested. The Union is no love story. It's a battlefield. As secrets come to life and betrayals fester within the walls of power, Grayson and Shadara must decide between annihilating each other or burning the city to the ground together. In a world where passion has consequences and loyalty is paid for in blood, their forced bond may be the spark that ignites a revolution, or the fire that consumes them both. The thing that makes me most curious about this book is how you fail an assassination and they make you marry the dude who almost killed. How does that work? How does that happen? I'll be interested to see. We'll find out all about it in my July wrap-up. They also have buy one get one 50% off on Amazon, so I got the sequel to Children of Blood and Bone. Children of Virtue and Vengeance. I have to avoid looking at the front of it because I don't want to get spoiled. Have you ever gotten spoiled by a description? It's the worst. It's the worst thing in the world, getting spoiled by a description, so try my best to stay out of that. Anyway, these are the books that I want to read this month. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!